And we continue at 2:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs across the glass.
John, we've been getting a lot of interesting requests at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, but what can I say? I'm a people pleaser. Jim in Laverne writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, and he's got a better idea of what we can combine this Katie Porter drop with. He would like to see Katie Porter maybe do a little duet with Cecily Meyer Cruz.
Wait!
I love how creative this audience is.
No!
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, this is yet another story that's a surprise to the rest of the world, but not a surprise to this audience. We know exactly what's going on in the city of Oakland on a daily basis, which is why the 7-Eleven Corporation is now saying that it is so violent in Oakland and neighboring communities, they can no longer hire people to be a cashier at their locations at night.
If you have ignored all of the news that's been going on in Oakland with the Kias crashing in, with the employees getting assaulted and robbed, and you're still applying for that job?
If the cashier is dummy.
For more on the 7-Eleven staffing shortage in Oakland, here's KPIX in the Bay.
We begin in Oakland, where crime is creating a staffing crunch at 7-Eleven. Stores keep getting hit, and frustrated owners say thieves treat them like ATMs.
Wait, Barbara Lee said crime was down.
Well, sometimes they treat them like punching bags, too.
Quite frankly.
Robbers have repeatedly targeted 7-Eleven locations across the city, stealing cash registers and grabbing boxes of cigarettes. The latest holdup happened yesterday morning at the 7-Eleven in the Diamond District. So store owners tell our Dawland these constant robberies are making it nearly impossible to hire cashiers, especially for overnight shifts.
Yeah, that is a death sentence.
How many times do you have to have a gun stuck in your face before you decide it's time for a midlife career change?
Well, and this is for $17 an hour. Come on. The fast food joints have to pay you $20.
You know, if you're going to have guns stuck in your face on a regular basis, you might as well date Phil Spector.
Store owners say the damage from these robberies goes beyond money. It creates fear. They say many cashiers never come back after a traumatizing experience.
Hazard pay.
Well, if it's hazard pay, they deserve a lot more than that.
The alert lone 7-Eleven cashier ran to the back room for safety as two people forcefully pulled open the locked front doors.
I told you, they all have a panic room.
Okay, if you're applying for a job and they're giving you the orientation and they're giving you the training, and part of it involves a panic room, maybe it's time for you to head for the hills.
The store is open 24/7, but because of repeated robberies...
Also, that's a failure. Most 7-Elevens, especially in Southern California, are no longer 24/7 operations because it is just too dangerous.
Just wait until the morning for your Slurpee.
The store is open 24/7, but because of repeated robberies, this location keeps its doors locked overnight.
I told you, I went to that one liquor store across the street from the movie theater I go to, and the door is locked. You have to ring the bell. They look at you on closed-circuit television, and if you look safe enough, they unlock the door so you can go in and shop.
So a cashier can manually screen each customer. It happened Thursday morning at 4:40 a.m. at the MacArthur Boulevard store. The two suspects took boxes of cigarettes and...
So he had to let these people in.
If the cashier is dummy.
And you know, cigarettes is exactly what people steal when they need to feed their hungry children.
The two suspects took boxes of cigarettes and the cash register.
After every time we get hit, it's hard to find employees because usually if employees whenever the business get hit, right, robbed at a gunpoint or with a major damage, those employees do not come back to work.
I'm not surprised.
You know what they need to start doing? Recruiting at the airport. You come here, you just get off a plane from Bombay. You don't know anything about the local news. And they come to you and they say, hey, you want to work at my business in Oakland. It's a beautiful neighborhood, up and coming, as they say. And you get to work around all the greatest snacks, all the newest periodicals, all the newest flavors of the Slurpees. We have it all. The horoscopes. We have all the horoscopes for all the signs. We have hot dogs. We even have, if you're a fan of a south of the border flair, we have the taquitos in there, occasionally corn dogs. What do you say you come work for me? But it's got to be with someone who just got here, because if they've watched the local news for 24 hours, just a little bit of time, if their flight, for whatever reason, came in before the people over at Immigration and Customs have opened up their offices and the televisions are on in the background, they're not going to work for you. You have to present this to someone who has a complete news blackout.
Amar Bar, better known as AD, is a board director with the American Petroleum and Convenience Store Association.
That's an interesting lobbying group. We lobby for gas and Cheetos.
Which represents gas stations and convenience stores. While he does not own the store that was hit on Thursday, he does own a nearby Oakland 7-Eleven that was robbed just 2 months ago.
Poor guy.
Wasn't it robbed multiple times?
Many of them have been.
He says finding cashiers is so difficult that he has to pay more to staff the overnight shift. 7-Eleven cashiers in Oakland start at $17 an hour.
That's low.
You get paid more at the In-N-Out Burger, where you're probably not going to have a gun put in your face.
But there is no In-N-Out Burger in Oakland.
That's true.
Got rid of that one. Right, Gavin?
Pagan Burger.
These jobs are minimum wage, and who would put their life on line, right? Especially the night shift.
I interviewed the 7-Eleven clerk who quit on the spot after being robbed twice in his first month on the job.
Okay, this was the guy that he got robbed after the Kia crashed in. He said, I quit. The manager convinced him to stay just one more day so he could find a replacement. And then he got robbed and beaten the next day.
No good deed goes unpunished.
I interviewed the 7-Eleven clerk who quit on the spot after being robbed twice in his first month on the job. He didn't want to show his face on camera.
They started hitting me and on my
Where
head,
did they hit you?
on my head, and then
On your head?
then they forced me to open the cash register.
There have been so many robberies targeting 7-Eleven stores that corporate 7-Eleven shut down its last company-owned location in Oakland last year.
None of the 7-Elevens in Oakland are even owned by 7-Eleven anymore. They're all the franchisees who can't find anyone to buy them out.
How did they even buy insurance at this point?
They probably don't.
That corporate 7-Eleven shut down its last company-owned location in Oakland last year. All 7-Eleven stores in the city are now run by franchise owners, mostly Southeast Asian immigrants.
Our insurance is double almost in California for the business community, to a point where you stop reporting in fear of losing the insurance coverage for your business.
Franchise owners.
Wait a minute. So they pay double in California to insure their 7-Eleven than what they pay in other places?
Yep.
And they can't even file a claim because they'll be dropped?
So when the Kia crashes through the door, they got to pay for that out of pocket.
Which means none of this is getting reported. It's not being reported to the cops because they just tell you to fill out a form online and nothing ever happens. And it's not being reported to the insurance company because they're already paying double and they'd be dropped.
So that's how crime is down.
Quite frankly.
In fear of losing the insurance coverage for your business.
Franchise owners have tried shortening hours and adding security, but a robber shot and killed a beloved 7-Eleven security guard in 2023. That's why the business community...
You know, it's this kind of behavior that is going to get people to sign on to robots that are armed guards. And that's not going to end well for anybody.
Or robot cashiers.
There's that, too.
That's why the business community is calling for more police presence.
You're not going to get that.
Nope, not in Oakland.
I feel your pain, and I want to acknowledge that it is real. At the same time, crime levels are coming down.
Oh, come on.
Charlene, you're new, but people aren't going to buy that.
Pay attention to the rap that you're featured in. The whole thing was just explained, and now you're going to go right back to, well, if you understood the statistics, crime is actually down.
And we have a new generation of city council leadership that is really seeking to put public safety at the top level. It's my top priority.
Is it Carol Fife's top priority?
If this is your top priority, what's the last thing on your list?
Council member Charlene Wong says the city is
No relation.
Working to hire more officers and dispatchers.
Our priority one phone calls, the police response time is 9 minutes. The national standard is 5 minutes. We need to get that down.
And that's for priority one, somebody with a gun active in the area.
9 minutes?
Yep.
Customers worry they'll lose their local stores if nothing changes.
If they close down, we got to travel further and it'll be more difficult.
The people.
And when you want your cigarettes, you want them now.
You get a real interesting cast of characters when you're doing men on the street interviews at 2 o'clock in the afternoon outside of an Oakland 7-Eleven.
If they close down, we got to travel further and it'll be more difficult.
The people from the community are the ones that are hurting the most.
AD says closing would be a tough and absolute.
Maybe I'm just a different kind of person. I don't frequent a 7-Eleven every day.
Let alone at 3 a.m.
You know, when I used to work the morning shift and we were over at the old building, which was on La Cienega and Fairfax, if you needed a snack before, you could go up to what's now known as Obama, but was then known as Rodeo. Not Rodeo, Rodeo. And that 7-Eleven was pretty damn scary.
Well, if you go to the Taco Bell on the same intersection, there's bulletproof glass at the drive-thru.
You got to put your pocket change through a little slot, and then they send out your burrito. It's still like that, even with that fancy $100 million apartment building across the street.
Great.
The community are the ones that are hurting the most.
AD says closing would be a tough and absolute last option.
Just being in Oakland is a challenge.
You don't say.
But we love our city. We don't want to leave. We want to continue business here.
No one has been arrested in the latest 7-Eleven robbery.
Are you surprised?
That's part of the problem.
And while the city says crime is down, business owners say it's hard to believe when thieves keep treating them like ATMs.
And they're stealing the ATMs, too.
Having an ATM in your business in 2026 is only a liability.
All right. So 7-Eleven can't hire cashiers in Oakland because the job has become so violent. What else is going on in Oakland, you say? Well, as it turns out, the city is stiffing people on their reward money when they tip the city off and the city makes an arrest.
For more, here's NBC in the Bay.
No more cash for calls. The relationship between Oakland and Crime Stoppers is officially over, and OPD says it is no longer offering reward money to help solve cases.
And
yeah, of all the problems that Oakland has, they're solving too many crimes.
And this comes after our investigative unit found police advertised money that wasn't available and failed to pay at least one tipster. Here's investigative reporter.
The city of Oakland is no good.
Can you imagine being stiffed on a reward?
Here's investigative reporter Candace Wynn.
That tipster we spoke to last year says he still has not been paid. We also spoke to...
We did this story a year ago. That guy still didn't get any money.
We also spoke to a woman whose husband's murderer is on the loose. She fears the loss of reward money could mean she'll never get justice.
I did the right thing at the end of the day.
Oh, boy.
Sounds like an East German female swimmer.
I did the right thing at the end of the day.
unpaid and stonewalled, he says.
I wasn't actually really surprised. I was like, well, why did they even bother texting, you know?
It just makes it a little better when they mask the voice.
I wasn't actually really surprised. I was like, well, why did they even bother texting, you know?
It's been more than 2 years.
Yeah, why? If you know something, if you see something and you say something, and you know they're not going to reward you for information that could be dangerous to you, why bother?
It's been more than 2 years since Oakland police credited this anonymous tipster's information for leading to the arrest in the 2023 murder of a flower delivery man. OPD and the nonprofit Oakland Crime Stoppers promised a reward of up to $10,000. Crime Stoppers board members tell us they haven't met or paid any tipster in years.
Oh, it's sad, but it's true.
And it was really OPD that ran the program. The tipster says he hasn't heard from anyone at the department, and his texts to the sergeant he dealt with no longer go through.
It just turned out to be green, and then it came back as trying to send an SMS, and then showed up as a red bubble next, and then it was like, okay, undeliverable.
This poor guy got ghosted. Who now, by the way, is in the witness protection program, apparently.
Okay, so this guy exposed himself to all kinds of liability by dropping a dime on a murderer, and the city thanks him by not being good for his reward money.
And ignoring his texts.
What went through your mind when you saw that?
That was the basic Stonewall, right? Even just to own up to be like, hey, the money is gone.
Checks in the mail.
Hey, the program has been dissolved.
Oakland police and Crime Stoppers say the nonprofit lost access to its bank account when 2 board members died. Last year, OPD told us it planned to get things back up and running, but that didn't happen. The department now tells us it's no longer partnering with Crime Stoppers, and it's not offering reward money at all. And
what's the point? We're not going to catch these people anyway.
No. And you had a DA for a long time that wasn't even going to prosecute him, so what's the point?
You might have her again.
Quite frankly.
And it still refuses to answer our questions about why it continued to offer rewards in at least a half dozen cases when it knew the cash wasn't available.
I really kind of felt like
City of Oakland's running a Ponzi scheme.
It sounds like it.
Oakland failed and bailed on me.
Now that's a rhyme.
Oakland failed and bailed on me.
She could be mayor of L.A.
Katie Miller's husband, Will Schwarma, was shot to death in Oakland last year. The killer's still on the loose. She says a cash reward could help her family and others get justice.
It's not so much that they didn't solve the crime. It's more that they weren't able. There's no ability to solve the crime.
While this tipster...
They don't have time for that.
No, they have more important things to be doing.
While this tipster says all he wants is acknowledgement and an apology, Miller says she wants someone to restore Oakland Crime Stoppers.
Every crime, every murder that's not solved in Oakland means there's a murderer on the streets out there.
Miller and the tipster fear the wider impact. Without Crime Stoppers, more cases will go unsolved, they say. There have been at least 59 homicides in Oakland this year.
But don't you worry, that number's down from last year, so you should feel safe.
If you understood statistics, you would know that crime is down in Oakland.
With the investigative unit, I'm Candace Wen, NBC Bay Area News.
There you go. If you witness a crime in Oakland, you're not going to get any kind of reward money for putting your life on the line to give out that vital information.
I will say this. These 2 Oakland stories that we did today are the most Oakland stories we've done, well, since the last one.
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, with the end of the show quickly approaching, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
3 hours of us wasn't enough? What's wrong with you people? Oh, you can listen to as much of it as you want. I've listened to what else is on the radio. It's Drek. Search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts. Maybe you want to hear the breaking news that we covered at the top of the show about Bippy running again for DA in Alameda County.
I've been bipped several times.
Search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcast app,
Quite frankly.
iHeartRadio,
She called me a crime boss.
Spotify.
She's too soft on crime.
Search for The John Phillips Show and
F around and find out.
Let's go to Gil in Vallejo. Gil, hello.
Hi, how are you? Love your show. A bad thing happened to me, or a traumatic thing happened to me 50 years ago, and I see the same similarity as far as where do you get employees. I was working swing shift, so I'm getting home 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I would stop at the 7-Eleven store that's close to the freeway. And I go in, and it was a Korean guy. His apartment was paid for. He was to work there. And he didn't get paid hardly nothing, peanuts for wages. And what happened was, and this is the sad part, so he some kids come in, junior high school kids, and start tearing up the place and asking him for money. And so he was a tough little guy. He locked the doors, kept them in there. I didn't have to lift a finger. And cops come, and the unfortunate part is, well, of course, he's got so the end of the story would be, well, you're going to go to court and testify. And so I go to court because I was a witness. He not only doesn't show up, John, he never worked at that store again. And I think there's a similarity there where they might be getting their workers. What do you think?
I don't know how they get their workers. My guess is they get people who are new to the country who don't understand how violent it is, and they put them in there, and they don't tell them what to expect. And when they are greeted with the violent reality of what it's like to be a 7-Eleven clerk, particularly if you're working an overnight shift, maybe they deal with it a time or two, but they don't last long, and they tell their friends, and you have to find someone who's new to the country to trick into taking the job yet again.
I think you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly where they're getting their people. There can't be that many dumb Americans that live here. But thank you so much.
Thank you for the call, sir.
Unfortunately, this drop gets truer every day.
If the cashier is dummy.
Well, and now that we're cracking down on illegal immigration, there isn't the fresh supply of immigrants coming in on airplanes anymore. So now you're dealing with a population of people who knows how violent it is up there, and they're just taking a pass on those jobs altogether.
$17 an hour to get shot at 7-Eleven. Do you know how much money you can make on OnlyFans taking pictures of your feet?
All right, Randy, it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
It's happened yet again.
It's Wild Wild West out here.
It's the California Crime Blotter with John
and Randy.
Now, Randy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the first time that Saratoga has made the blotter.
Yeah, that's usually not an honor that you want for your town, but in Saratoga, the criminals have proven a theory of mine correctly. John, criminals do pay attention to the news. They watch the local TV news, and they even read the local paper to get ideas on what crimes to commit. What do I mean? Somebody posted an obit in the newspaper, and the next day their dead relative got robbed.
Uh-oh.
For more, here's NBC in the Bay.
An alarming trend in the South Bay, thieves targeting grieving families. A Saratoga family says right after they posted a relative's obituary in the newspaper, someone broke into their loved one's homes. But the thieves...
They put the address in there?
Well, they used to do this in Egypt with the pyramids. The thieves would try to come in and take all of the goodies that they'd put in with the pharaoh.
As you can see right here, caught on camera. Here's our Marianne Favreau with the story you'll only see on NBC Bay Area.
The security expert we spoke with today said that targeting the home of a person who has just died is not new, but that strategy seems to be having a resurgence. And he says there are ways to protect yourself.
Criminals be crafty, and they're constantly looking for different ways and different crime trends. Just like any other career, the best at it are going to be tenacious at their craft.
I wonder if the dead people are going to come back and haunt these thieves.
This security camera video shows someone walking up to a Saratoga home and then walking out the front door several hours later carrying a safe.
Well, I guess the owner's not going to need that in the afterlife.
If you're the relative of the person that has passed, wouldn't you want to clear out the safe and the home full of valuables before you publicize the death in the newspaper?
You'd think so.
You also see a second person leaving the home. John Tuttle says this was a burglary. It happened Friday, just 2 days after his family posted his mother-in-law's obituary in the Saratoga News. He believes the obituary is the reason his mother-in-law's home was targeted.
It's very difficult.
Well, they knew no one was home.
And no one's going to be home for a while.
It's very difficult on the family. I mean, we're already dealing with the loss of my mother-in-law. And then to have this happen to her home after her death, it's just adding insult to injury.
He says the thieves used an...
Okay, what was in that safe? He seems pretty bummed.
It sounds like there was something good in there.
He says the thieves used an axe to break into the back sliding glass door of the...
That's pretty violent to break into a dead woman's home.
Well, they figured no one was there to hear, so I might as well be as loud as I can be.
He says the thieves used an axe to break into the back sliding glass door of the home and made off with sterling silverware and that safe, which was empty.
Okay, what are you doing with forks? You selling those on eBay?
So they broke into a dead woman's home for cutlery and an empty safe?
Fine china.
Which was empty.
And they went right through here.
You may remember a few weeks ago, Kathleen Toromina told us a similar story. One day after her family ran an obituary for her father in a local paper, his Los Gatos home was broken into.
Los Gatos, too?
Well, they can come in from Oakland to the other communities and rob them when they're dead.
The thieves stole sterling silverware, 2 guns, and irreplaceable family heirlooms.
You're telling me the guns weren't heirlooms?
No, the guns were for the thieves, but the guy is dead, so the guy couldn't go for the guns.
You know, I think we've got a brand new crime trend that we are uncovering right here as we speak. Forget copper wire theft. It's all about silverware theft.
It's so bad in California, they're going to continue to rob you even after you're dead.
Who takes advantage of someone at their saddest, lowest, weakest moments?
That's what criminals do. That's what they're good at. They don't have a conscience.
Nope.
I mean, come on, who does that?
They don't have a Jiminy Cricket telling them what's right and what's wrong. They know it's wrong. They know they're going to get away with it.
And if they had a Geppetto, they'd clean his safe out too.
Both families reported the break-ins to law enforcement.
I think we are seeing a resurgence of an old technique.
Security expert Michael Leninger says it's not unusual for criminals to hunt for targets by scanning obituaries, but there are ways to protect yourself.
My recommendation is that you make the home look like it's actually lived in, that someone's still there.
Like Weekend at Bernie's?
Okay. If you put it in the paper that they're dead, it doesn't matter if you leave the lights on and put the television on, too. They know the woman is dead.
Just make a quick sweep of the house for anything that's worth any money, then publicize the passing.
What are you going to do?
Hire a taxidermist?
Is it going to be like Home Alone?
With the mannequin and the string?
Yeah. You're going to go down out of the closet and buy a life-size cutout of Liberace and put that in the window?
My recommendation is that you make the home look like it's actually lived in, that someone's still there. Don't close all the blinds. Don't turn all the lights off. If you can, park a car in the driveway. And by all means, if you have an active alarm system, use it.
He also recommends asking neighbors or even hiring private security to keep an eye on your loved one's home. John is hoping
Got to hire a patrol guard for a dead person's house. This is California in 2026.
Or how about this? We could find the a-holes and we can lock them up.
We don't do that.
John is hoping this
Diversion, John. Diversion.
We're literally willing to bend over backwards to the point to where we have to try to trick people into thinking a dead person is still alive because we're unwilling to put criminals in prison.
John is hoping this security video will help lead police to the burglars before they can steal from another grieving family.
I think this is really below human dignity to do that type of thing.
We got to go back to the smelters. Who's buying stolen forks and knives and spoons?
Well, you look at something like this and you can say, this is as low as humanity gets. Or you can look at something like this and you can find opportunity. You know who can make a lot of money off of this?
Who's that?
And I mean a lot of money. Dr. Jill Biden. Because if the object of winning the game is convincing people that a dead person is still alive, who better than her?
And then we went to sleep.
The security expert also recommends that if you do post an obituary, put as little information as possible and don't name the surviving relative.
They really love taking walks on Elm Drive right in front of their house. They love parking their blue Chevy in their driveway.
Well, maybe what you do is you just lie about the cause of death. Let's just say the cause of death was, cancer. You put the cause of death was cancer. The crooks know. They know that the house is empty and they can show up and they can take anything they want. But if you were to say the person died after a shootout with robbers at home and the home is fully booby-trapped because they got robbed all of the time, and anyone who walks in that home is liable to take a bullet to the chest from the booby trap, then maybe that will deter the thieves. However, if the person did die after a long, drawn-out battle with cancer, you are defaming them in death by talking about a shootout.
And don't name the surviving relatives because it's possible their homes could be targeted while they're at the funeral. In Saratoga, Marianne Favreau, NBC Bay Area News.
There you go. I told you so. Criminals pay attention to the news.
Well, maybe in the obit, regardless of what the relationship is like, you have to say that they were estranged from all of their children. So the crooks think that the children won't be attending the funeral. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Let's go to Mike in Cupertino. Mike, hello.
Yeah, on the obituary, just put down like Ebola or some other deadly flesh-eating bacteria that's infesting the house, like my ex. Have a great day, guys.
That is an excellent, excellent point. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Larry in Oxnard. Larry, hello.
Thank you guys for helping us to endure these governments here in California. Yeah, during the break there, while I was waiting, I was looking up a security guard to watch my house after I die. It's crazy. I wanted to say to that Wilshire Boulevard temple that was mentioned on your news hour or so ago that and getting harassed similarly to the New York City temple recently. There was harassed. That, we're praying for you out there and be encouraged. John, great reference, The Last Hurrah. I have not read the book, but the film was fantastic film, Spencer Tracy and all that, apparently based on Rose Kennedy's dad, as I recall. And leaning towards Hilton or Cheon, who's the pastor who won a lawsuit during the lockdowns against the governor. Just wondered, I guess Hilton didn't show up for the Stockton event either, I believe, but, and then Bianco, really bothered that he, shined you guys on twice. Not a good look. What if Caruso gets in? How does it affect the Republicans to, attempt to get in the top two? Thank you.
Well, right now they're all bunched together, or there's at least a handful of them that are bunched together at the top, where you have the two Republicans, Steve Hilton, Chad Bianco. You have the Congressman, Eric Swalwell. You have Katie Porter. And then there's a little bit of a break. And then you have Antonio Villaraigosa. You have Javier Becerra. You have the rest of them at 5-6 points and
Tom
under.
Steyer at 4%.
That's right. And so right now, it's really an open race. Any of them have the ability to break through and make it on the November ballot. And that's part of the reason why there's such a mad scramble going on. It's part of the reason that other candidates who aren't in the race, you mentioned one of them, Rick Caruso, are still thinking about getting in. They're thinking about getting in because they don't see a dominant candidate running away with it yet. And that is atypical from what we've seen in gubernatorial races in recent history. Now, you mentioned the book, The Last Hurrah, which was made into a movie with Spencer Tracy. I would highly recommend the book. It was written by a guy by the name of Edwin O'Connor, and it was about Mayor James Michael Curley, who was a titan in Massachusetts politics. He was a governor of Massachusetts. He was a congressman. He was a mayor of Boston on many different occasions. He's held other offices at the state and local level. But he was a guy that Ronald Reagan, of all people, was obsessed with. Ronald Reagan was obsessed with Mayor Curley. And I don't know if it was because of the Spencer Tracy movie and that's how he became exposed to him, or if he read the book at some point in the past. But Ronald Reagan was a great admirer of Mayor Curley. And if you're into political novels, I know that certainly the one that was written about Bill Clinton, Primary Colors, that they turned into a movie with John Travolta, I know that's one that people like a lot. And All the King's Men, written about Louisiana politics and Huey Long, and they turned that into a movie as well. They did a remake of that movie, in fact, not that long ago with Leonardo DiCaprio. That's a good one. But my favorite one out of the entire bunch is The Last Hurrah. So if you got a long airplane trip coming up and you're looking for a book to keep you company, that's definitely one I think that you'll enjoy.
Right on. Thank you. Yeah, Jeffrey Hunter and all that in the film too. But I didn't even realize it was based on a book, so I appreciate the tip there.
Happy to help. Thank you for the call, sir.